So one of the great tools that I found this calving season has been my herd app. It's just taken away so much pressure in terms of registering calves. It's so simple. All I do is scan the tag, boom, scroll down, easy calving. Now, this is a pedigree calf, so this herd app actually generates a name for me. So she's by West Coast Perseus. So the name it's suggesting is a Perseus Pet. Pet's the name of her mom. So I do that, save, and now register later when I have a bit better Wi-Fi. So it's easy and simple, and it means less paperwork. It's 1 and 2. Brilliant. So that's all gone straight onto ICBF. The calf is registered, and my card will arrive tomorrow. So today we're up in Slane with Peter Mongie. Peter Mongie was a finalist 2 years ago in the Grass 10 competition. Peter also has moved from doing a 50 cow winter-based herd to 110 cows spring-based. He's going to talk to me today about doing all of this on his own and giving me some of his top tips on what I should be looking at moving forward. Peter, hello, how are you?
Pleased to meet you.
Thanks a million for having us here today.
Very well.
So Peter, start off by probably telling us a little bit about the farm here and what you're doing.
We're totally spring milk here for the last 2 years. We were in winter milk up to that. We're milking 110 cows on a 42 hectare platform and 29 hectare grazing platform.
What was that transition, that journey like from a winter milk herd to you're now all spring based?
Yeah, it was transition probably over 3 years. I suppose pre-quota, we were limited to what we could produce, and we had a small farm, a small grazing platform here of just 10 hectares. We're milking 55 cows, so winter milk fitted the system. But then as quota went and we acquired land beside us, the herd started to grow. The number of cows in winter milk was a smaller and smaller percentage of the herd. So it wasn't really viable. 20 cows would have filled our contract here for winter milk. So that's why we decided to make the change.
So on your transition from winter to spring, what was the biggest factor? So grassland management has to be huge, because you're milking like quite a number of cows.
Grassland management would be something I'm working hard on, probably grass measuring here for the last 12 or 13 years. We'd have probably a good reseeding policy here of about 15% every year if we can. And the outblocks, and there's 2 outblocks we use for cutting silage, so we keep them reseeded every 5 or 6 years. So there's high quality feed going in. Grass is very important to maintain the numbers that we have here. I'm
doing winter milk at the moment.
Okay.
What's the biggest advantages that you see now that you've moved, you've dried off, you have a dry period now, I presume?
Yeah, you have a break for 4 or 5 weeks, whatever, time to recharge the batteries, get those jobs that need to be done pre-calving, get the place right, so you have time to do all that. Plus you just have 2 batches of animals as such, whereas before you had 4, plus your milkers. So it leaves that a lot simpler as well. So when you're finished calving, you can totally focus on the breeding. You're not doing breeding while you are calving and vice versa. So it's a lot simpler. You have 1 batches of calves rather than 2 in the autumn and spring.
A lot of guys will say, oh, calving all spring, it can create problems in terms of, you've got so many cows calving in such a tight period of time. How did you deal with that transition? What's your policy say on calf rearing?
Well, when calf is dropped, we try to get adequate colostrum into it in the first 3 hours. Stomach tubed if it's not tending to suck. But we spend that time with the calf when it's born to make sure it gets it. So yeah, we're in the Jonas program as well, so it's taken from the mother early.
Obviously from the winter base, you've milked a 50 cow. You obviously used a lot of Holstein, a different type of cow.
Yeah.
What was your transition like? Did you buy in new animals?
No, there was no animals bought in here at all, ever, back generations, whatever. So we've grown the herd from within. We've changed the animal. It's taken a bit of time. We're working with EBI, watching that very closely. With genomics as well. We've been using genomics for the last 3 or 4 years. We're selecting bulls for solids and for fertility are the 2 main things we're going after here.
Yeah, and would you put them on a par, or which is your big deciding factor in terms of fertility or or production?
Well, normally when you work with the top of the list, they kind of go hand in hand, you know. So it's very easy to get bulls with both. So we're looking for at least 25 on fat and protein, and above plus 80 to 100 on fertility if we can.
And how do you decide what you're going to breed with? What tools do you use? Do you kind of like, oh, she was a good cow this year, or do you milk record? What are the things you find?
Yeah, we milk record. I'm in the parlour myself every day, so you know the cows that are milking well, cows' temperament, problem cows, feet, cell count, whatever it is. So there's a range of things cows are selected and culled on. I'm also contract rearing here for the last 4 or 5 years. So that's brilliant. We have probably a larger number of heifers than we need coming in, so we can select on the heifers as well. We can go harder on culling, or we have heifers there for sale. So that's working brilliant.
What do you do with the animals, say you haven't selected for breeding, but you want to keep the cow? What would you use? A lot of beef? What way do you work that way?
Yeah, we would always use a lot of Belgian blue here, a lot of Belgian blue straw. Never had trouble. I suppose coming from a Holstein herd, the cow would have been a big enough cow to start with, but there's never been any problems with calving and Belgian blue.
How important do you think it is for dairy farmers, particularly guys starting to get into numbers and starting to use beef now that they're at the number that they want? How important is the relationship, do you feel, between them and, say, a local calf rearer or a local guy?
It's very important. We need the local guy as well, you know. But everybody's looking for a good calf, so it's very important to select your bulls well, to have your good calf to start with. The farmers that come, they know what I do to the calf, so they have a healthy calf thriving and ready to go on, so they're very happy and always return.
I noticed you've got heat detection, an automated heat detection. You're a one-man show here. How important is reinvestment in the yard? How far should, say, a guy on his own take reinvestment?
I'd say to any guy starting out, just hold back the reins. Just when it comes to borrowing, don't over borrow, don't overstretch yourself. Work with what you have, and over time you can improve, or you see better the things that need to be done. I suppose creeping up in numbers being a one-man show, so to have any bit of help is brilliant, and the heat detection works really well. It's tied in with the draft in there as well, so it drafts out the cows automatically there for the AI man. So that saves a lot of labour. Talking
to you, you've got it. You know, you're getting there. You've got it all done with your grass. You're in a similar position to I was. I mean, I am now in terms of winter and spring. What's your philosophy? What would you send me home with to really think about?
I suppose know what you want and go after it. Probably starting with your cow. Have your right cow from day one. A cow at the end of her day who's going to leave you a few pounds as well for the factory, or a good calf to work with. I suppose soil fertility. To get that in place, soil fertility is, you won't grow the grass unless the soil fertility is correct. That's a big thing. There's things there, there's plenty of apps there, you know, that don't cost, you don't need to invest huge amounts of money to help you manage the thing better. And I haven't a whole sorted. I'm still a work in progress, but bit by bit we're trying to improve as we go on.
Peter, thank you very much for talking to me today.
Very good. Best of luck.
Thank you.